title of this interview is called The Unconventional Methods That Work from one of the highest paid copywriters of all time, Eugene Schwartz. If you're like most writers, you want to produce copy that turns readers into customers so you can turn your writing into cash. That's exactly what Eugene Schwartz did, and in this speech he gave to a group of copywriters at Rodale shortly before his death, he revealed all the quirky methods he used to make his copy soar to unrivaled rates of conversion while other copy got thrown in the trash. Eugene Schwartz called himself the hardest working copywriter in the business, even though he only worked 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Because he could separate the creative from the working parts of his brain, Eugene was able to maximize his time, avoid writer's fatigue, and deliver an outstanding product every time. To do this, he used a technique he adapted from Mozart, which you'll hear about in this audio recreation. You'll also hear the sneaky Zen method Eugene used to get rid of writer's block. You'll learn why it's important to redline the word creativity when it comes to your work, and how Eugene made it operational, tangible, and doable. You'll learn how to use a timer and 3 pencils to stay focused on your copy and keep yourself on task. You'll learn a pure magic formula that uses claims, mechanisms, and proof in just the right way to turn prospects into customers. You'll learn the most powerful word in the English language that you need to make sure you include in your copy, and the word is not free. You'll learn the simplest way to always have a headline that sells. So in this audio recreation, you'll hear what good copy consists of, how to assemble it, how to avoid most of the stumbling blocks that keep even the best writers staring at a blank page, and this speech has something for everyone. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned pro, you'll come away with a fresh new look on marketing and on your copy and the potential it can have on your wallet. This is not the kind of speech you can listen to one time. Every time you listen to it, you can learn something. I hope you enjoy. Now let's get going.
This is Eugene Schwartz. Today, I'm going to teach you something about copywriting. I want to tell you what I'm going to do today. If you work with computers, and I love computers, can you say, be transparent? Be completely open and show me every single step that you took. Now, the computer has no non-transparency circuits. Human beings have an enormous amount of non-transparency circuits. So the computer will then show you every step it took. I'm going to be completely transparent with you today. I like writing. I like copywriting. I like merchandising. And I think I discovered a few very simple, obvious ways of doing this. So, I'm going to tell you the complete truth. I'm going to tell you anything you want to know. I'm going to be completely redundant and completely infantile because I'm going to start at the very, very, very simple things that you already know. And then I'm going to work to some things that perhaps you do not know. Let me start with the most important principle of success in publishing my or any task that you want to achieve goals. And of course, it is very simply hard work. Let's say if I've got 27 out of 30 hits, then I have a 90% ratio, which is pretty good. Okay, I got that not because I'm extremely talented or extremely creative or anything like that. I like to think of myself as working harder than anybody untested against me. There are much better copywriters working for your firm than I am. There is nobody writing for your firm that I know that works harder than I do. And you have what I call the Super Bowl of mail order publishing here. What happens is you will get a book, and you hire 2 copywriters. You don't tell them who is the other person, and you say, write copy here, write copy there, and we'll test it. It is the Super Bowl. It is the best in the world. When you write for Rodale, you know you're coming up against the best, most talented, brightest, oldest, youngest people in the world, and you're going to have to beat them. And how do you beat them? The only way that I know to beat people as inventive and creative as these people is to outwork them. And so I long ago invented a system of working hard that is extremely powerful. let's say that I'm called and someone says, I'm going to send you a manuscript. You're going to send me back copy in 5 weeks. Okay, the manuscript arrives. The manuscript here now is about 1,100 pages. 1,100 pages is a lot. Okay, what I do is I take the 1,100 pages and I go through it in about 2 weeks. How do I go through it? I take the manuscript and I underline or grab it, the claims, as I go through every page. Now, I take a red pencil and I put it at the front and back of each claim. And perhaps I'll have 3 pages about claims. I am building, at that time, out of the manuscript, a summary, vocabulary. They're all equivalent terms. I am getting the guts and the heart and the meat and the gist out of that manuscript. Now, I go through every single page. It's 1,103 pages. I go through every single page. When I am done, as I am doing, I send it over to my secretary or to a freelance typist, and that person types up my vocabulary. It will come back to me between 50 and 60 pages. They will be essentially what I see as the strongest points in the book. Now, I think it's very important to know that I don't really have any ideas when I open the book. I take the table of contents and I put it to the side. I won't even look at it. I start at the first page of the book itself, and I work my way through to the last page of the book. I'm not interested really in what other people think is in the book. I am interested only in the book itself. I want to come across the claims as surprises. I want them to astound me. I want them to move me. I don't want to come to them with a vision of my own. As I'm going through that, I will get ideas, of course, and respond to the ideas in the book. I carefully take them, and I write them on a little piece of paper. I don't do much with them. I just scratch them out in my own little shorthand and put them aside. When I get back the vocabulary is in print, and it's on a disc. I put the disc in my machine, and I'm ready to go. I start with the top again, and I start now organizing, selecting, inspiring, associating everything else again. Finally, I have a rough ad. Now, if you put 50 pages into a computer, use a single file, the computer will not like you. It will be very unhappy with this. It will have indigestion, and it will take a long time to go from back to front. So, the computer requires categorization from you. It will force you to break it up into blocks, and you will find yourself pulling things out and placing them in separate manageable files. So, your first organization is dictated by the computer's necessity. Then, I write my beginning ad. No headline now, no subheadline, no flyer headlines, nothing like that, just sure claims. And when I'm through with that, 3 weeks have passed and the pressure is building up. I can feel the people down here getting very nervous, and the phone calls sometimes sneak through. How you doing? Wonderful. Oh, it's great. Sensational. I can feel the strength. How about sending us an envelope? Oh, I can't do that right now. Well, I haven't even written the envelope. I haven't a word of the envelope. I'm still building. Okay. Then I begin selecting those claims, which are the most unusual, the most powerful, and I'll explain how I arrive at those decisions. And I begin writing my envelope, or I begin writing my heads, or I begin getting the big type stuff. By the time I've done that, the 4th week has passed, and now I take everything I've done. It's not finished yet, but it's certainly taking shape. And it's beginning to look like what you're going to see when this stuff comes up. I go back over it with the manuscript. I check it again. I made little notes. I put little checks, something to offer. Something is missing here. Something hasn't quite built it. So I go back over it again. When I am through on the 5th week and I send down the copy, I want to know the book as well or even better than the editor. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this because this is what makes success. There's nothing else in the world that makes success such as this. Okay, I will take the best copywriter in the world who is sloppy and careless and match him against a good copy cub. And 2 out of 3 times, the sloppiness of the great person will be beaten by the carefulness of the other person, because the power of the ad for a book or a product, any publication or any instrument, is always in the product itself. It's not in the copywriter. The copywriter simply finds it and expresses it.
You're listening to an exclusive interview found on Michael Sinoff's HardToFindSeminars.com.
I wrote an ad recently for a book for a doctor who I never worked with before, who was not a Rodale author at all. And I sent him the copy, and he sent the copy back. The copy said you can eat fats, meat, and eggs. And he crossed out the word eggs. And I called him. I'd never spoken to him. And I said, "Doctor, I don't understand why you crossed out the word eggs." He said, "Well, because I never used anything about eggs. Eggs can't be controlled." And I said, "Doctor, on page 164, this sentence about eggs," which I quoted. And he laughed. Now, why did he laugh? He laughed because I am an amateur who was criticizing an expert about his own text, and I knew more about his text at that moment than he did. When I heard that laugh, I was very hopeful that the ad would succeed because I knew that much. I spent half my time working on mail order copy, I spent half my time collecting art, and I spent half my time writing my own book. It comes to 150%, yes, and I'm very busy. But I had recently written a series of books on religion, and I was helping and working with the leading Christian theologian in America, a young lady who is absolutely brilliant and beautiful, and she was asking me for some editorial comment on her book. And she sent me 26 pages. I read them and called her up and said, "This passage from Mark is wrong." And she said, "But Mark says these 3 words about Pilate." And I said, "No," and she laughed. Now, why did she laugh? Because she's the best authority in America on that, but she hadn't checked Mark versus Matthew. And they blend in people's minds. I had checked exactly the words, and that check made the difference between her being attacked in the press for being irresponsible and her being right at no cost. I want to be more accurate and more knowledgeable than anyone I come up against. You want to be more accurate and more knowledgeable than anyone that you come up against. The person who is best prepared and the most knowledgeable makes the most money. I mean, it's so simple. The football coach at West Point during World War II, his name is Greg Blake Smith, and he said, "The will to win means nothing without the will to prepare." So, the first thing is very simple but very important. Everything else I'm going to tell you it means nothing without. If you'd like to make money, if you'd like to live on Park Avenue, if you'd like to have a world-famous art collection, work. Just work. Anyone can do it. You're all brilliant. You wouldn't be here unless you're brilliant. You work for a great firm. Work hard, you get there. Okay, I don't say you have to work impossible hours now. Remember that. I worked 3 hours a day, every single day for 5 days a week. That's all I worked. I worked 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day, I get very tired, and I go work someplace else. But it's enough that I can do this because I'm better prepared than anyone else. Now, how do I work? What is the secret? I've never had a writer's block. I've done 30 ads for Path. I've done dozens of ads for Boardroom, dozens of ads for myself, and many ads for Phillips. Dick Benson is the editor.
Hi, it's Michael Sinoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. You know, many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini-seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.